Hey, welcome back to part two of episode 10. We appreciate you coming back to finish up the conversation. So here we go.
If people have this one-on-one interaction with a difficult person, whether it's the person who's asking all the questions and being difficult and challenging you all the time, is to remove the emotion. So if that means you wait a day, 2 days, whatever, but do it relatively close to when the behavior occurred
Hmm.
and take the emotion out of it. Come prepared to have the discussion without all the emotion in it and frame it just like you did. This is what happened. This is how I felt. And I'm trying to understand how you see it. It really is how it is. This is the behavior. This is how it felt. This was the outcome. This was the action. It didn't feel good. And then, am I misinterpreting that? Or like, what's really behind that? Asking the other person to share their thoughts. Because that allows you to give constructive feedback, but then also hear their side of it.
Yeah.
Because it might have been misconstrued, but it also gives them that opportunity to sort of tell you their viewpoint and also how they're feeling. Because it could be that they didn't mean it at all the way you perceived it. But with you bringing it up, it first makes them aware that the behavior exists if they didn't know that they were doing it. And if they were aware that they were doing it, it gives them the opportunity to explain themselves to you. So, what you said, how you said it to me was great. And if I would have responded right away, I would have said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you told me that because that was not my intent." So, this is my perspective. That was not my intent. In fact, when I ask you questions, Paul, it's because I'm challenging you. Like, I know you can handle it. You always come, you have such great ideas. Like, your vision is fantastic. And I'm trying to get you to see even more, like, how else we could do more with that idea. Or I'm like digging deeper. You've brought the idea, but let's dig deeper into that idea so that we really understand it. But then I'm also trying to help the rest of the team understand how it fits into the picture. And I know you feel singled out, and I guess in some way you are singled out because I see in you more creativity, deeper ideas that are being brought to the team than I see by the rest of the team, unfortunately. So when I ask you questions, it's to really dig deep and to uncover the the idea and to help us get the most out of your idea.
Well, I must be getting better at this kind of thing because because that what I gave you was like the way I would actually probably end up responding. The way I would advise people to respond would be different than that, which is odd because I felt like I used you too many times in my response, right? And uh so I'm glad to hear that it still though was a good response. And then like the way you responded back, I've heard that before. Um and so that's like how odd how spot on that is. But the way that I would
That is
advise
odd.
somebody to react to that is I would advise them to take it one by one, like in terms of if they had multiple issues with you, if they're questioning you on multiple issues. I mean, and you tell me if this is any better, but the way I would advise somebody would be to say, take it issue by issue, go to them, say, hey, you were asking me questions in the meeting. Um, I I'm not sure, if I kind of gave all the details or not. I just want to make sure that I provide you with enough information. Help me understand uh, what it is that you're looking for. Like help me understand um, the information that you're really looking for. So I just want to make sure that you have it all.
So I like that response because it's short and to the point. Your other
Yeah.
answer wasn't bad either. And so, two things that were missing that I would recommend to people in this situation because it follows sort of the feedback format
Hmm.
regardless of who you're having a conversation with, is sort of setting the stage or preparing the person for what's to come. So before I started that, say, hey, do you mind if we have a conversation? Is it okay because I want to talk to you about something or I have some feedback for you? And what you're doing there is you're allowing them to say yes or no. You're giving them the opportunity, but you're sort of setting the stage. So now they know, okay, something's about to happen. Like Paul's going to say something to me and I should pay attention. And then begin with what you said. I noticed in the meeting, that was great. This is it, the exact scenario. What happened? What happened? You were asking, there's our invisible our
Darn
floating head
it.
again. So what happened in the meeting? You were questioning me a lot, and I'm not sure. I didn't understand the reasoning behind that. But further, one more is either how it made you feel, right? It didn't feel good being questioned like that in front of the team, or it made me feel like I hadn't researched everything completely, whatever it is, how it made you feel, or the impact it had in some way. As a result, I felt like it made us feel less aligned or seem less aligned when we left the meeting, or as a result, I can't move forward now with the next step of our project because you asked me all these questions, and now I have to go back to the drawing board. So sort of like the outcome of it, or how even if how it impacted you personally, it made me feel stupid. It made me feel like you're not on my side. And then help me understand your side. That's
Okay.
perfect. Help
I
me
want to throw
understand.
I want to throw something else in here.
Okay.
And this is so when I'm advising business partners, you know, it can be very difficult because as soon as somebody gets the title co-owner, they immediately see themselves as a peer in every way to the other person, even though they may not have any experience or as much experience in certain areas as the other person. Doesn't matter. They still see themselves as a peer because they're the co-owner, right? And therefore they should have a say in everything, and their say should be weighted equally, regardless of experience. So let's relate that to this scenario. You're questioning me in meetings. You are in food and beverage, and I am in accounting.
You put
You,
me in the best part, food and beverage.
oh yeah,
Yes.
you know, what makes you think you have so much experience in what I'm talking about to be able to question my opinions? So that's what I want to ask you. So how does it get handled if I have more experience in the topic than you do, but you are grilling me with questions about it?
So if I look at this from like the business side, whether it's a small business or the corporate world, the only reason food and beverage and accounting would be together in the same room, or one of the only reasons, is because we are working on a project. We are working in something that involves both of us to be there. Maybe there's an event that we're going to kick off, and I'm responsible for the food and beverage side and maybe marketing that, bringing the people in, and you're responsible for the finances. So I may have some authority to ask questions about what you're questioning because because it does impact me in some way, but I may not have a complete understanding of why you're asking me those questions, which I often find happens when there are difficult people cross department or cross functionally. That's
Hmm.
another thing that we kind of talked about when we think of difficult people. A lot of times people think someone who's in a different department. And like you just said, you're the food and beverage lady. Why are you asking me questions? You don't know my job. I'm the accountant. I've been here for 20 years. I know more than you, and you're the food and beverage lady who's only been here 3, or something like that. And I would think in this side that I may be entitled to ask you some questions because the project that we're on means we're involved in this space for some reason. We have to work together somehow. And maybe I'm asking questions because I don't fully understand. from my side why you're doing what you're doing. And this is where I advise people to consider that. Have a little bit of, put yourself in my shoes and okay, wait a second. Lori doesn't have an accounting background. And so when she's asking me questions, it's not to frustrate me. It's to have a better understanding of what I'm actually saying to her from the accounting side. If we're specifically talking about me asking you questions all the time.
What if, what if the questions you're asking me, because of my experience, I can tell you they're not valid questions, but you say, well, yeah, but I just don't feel like that's right. I just don't feel like it should be that way. How should I respond to you in that case when I'm going off of, look, from numbers standpoint, it doesn't work that way. But you're going, yeah, but I just don't feel like that's right. I don't feel like it should be that way. I feel like we should be more flexible. I feel like, and you're giving me feelings.
Okay, so first of all, is this conversation happening one-on-one?
No, let's put high stakes on it. Let's say it's happening during the meeting.
Okay, during the meeting. Ooh, that's a good one. I feel like that we should have just do that. So we're managing it from the accountant side. How are you going to deal with me because you disagree? Because so there's so much more behind this than just me asking a question. I'm telling you, like I feel like. So the best way that I could say someone can handle this diplomatically, if you're going to do it in the meeting, if the person keeps saying, I feel like this, I'd say, how about after the meeting, you and I talk more? And then I can explain a little bit more about where I'm coming from. But for now, let's move forward. Let's move to the next thing on the agenda. Like that's how
Well,
I,
I can't do that because I need answers right now. And if once we leave this meeting, I mean, I can't meet with you because I'm going on vacation and I'm doing this, and we won't be able to meet for a week and a half.
so wait, are
But I
you, are
can't have it
you,
that way. We
are
got to
you
make
food and
decisions.
beverage lady now?
Yeah,
Or you're so you've
yeah,
taken my role. You're a food
I
and
have.
beverage
Yeah, I
lady, and
stole your role.
I'm the accountant. Well, you don't have 5 minutes after this meeting for me just to take a moment to talk about it? Because I
I
don't
don't think
want it.
it's,
What I don't
I don't
want
really
is,
think it's, I mean, really, I don't. I mean, I'm packed. My schedule's packed, but I don't think it's going to take 5 minutes.
well, how about we get the input from everybody else about what we should do right now? Should we continue to move forward or continue to talk about this topic so we get a resolution? Or should we table it and then come back to it
Well,
at another
well,
time?
but nobody else has what to deal with what I have to deal with. I need answers.
Okay. Well, tell me what you need answers, specifically what you need answers to.
Well, you're telling me we need to cut the budget. I just don't feel that way. I don't feel like we have to. I think the way that I budget is perfectly fine. And and I feel like maybe you just need to be more flexible. Maybe you just need to be able to like think about the numbers in a different way. I'm trying to be creative and I think that there's a way that we can fudge the numbers so that the outcome still looks like how you want it, but I also get the outcome I need because I need to spend money on these things.
Well, first of all, I'm not about to do something that's dishonest and I'm not fudging the numbers. So that doesn't sit well with me. And I'm hoping it doesn't sit well with anybody else in
I'm
the
not asking you
room.
to do illegal things, but people fudge numbers all the time.
Oh, good Lord.
People put
Oh,
a little bit of the money here and they say there's a little bit of money there in the budget. They say, I mean, Dave does it all the time.
well, Dave's not part of our team.
But he does it.
I'm leading this team. And right now, it doesn't matter to me what other teams are doing, how other people are working. What matters to me is how we move forward and that we're doing things the right way. And our budget doesn't allow for you to buy a candy corn machine or 6,000 pizzas. It only allows you to purchase 400 pizzas and have one person there to supply like the cotton candy if we want the event to be successful.
I just disagree. I don't think so. I think we can move money.
Okay, well, we're gonna have to table this conversation. We're going to have to table this conversation. And if you don't have the time because you're going on vacation, then how about we get back to it when you return?
Oh, we've got a big catering event coming up. I don't have time for, I have to know whether or not I can buy the stuff. I need at least four days lead time in order for the stuff to get delivered and set up. So I really need, to have this figured out now.
So the answer is no, you can't buy it. You're within the budget. What you're allowed to purchase is 400 pizzas and 60 whatever. And if you have a problem with that, then you're going to have to escalate it to the next level. And I can certainly go with you to have that conversation.
But what I'm saying is I have a slush fund. I have technically a slush fund, and there's some money in the slush fund, but you're saying you won't move money from the slush fund because you're saying the slush fund is for other stuff, and my head is floating. And a lot of times when my head is floating, that's when I'm most angry.
Wow,
So can't we just move it from the slush fund?
this is really a, so I'm not one who manages, so okay, I'm gonna get into character, the slush fund. So the slush fund is only to be used for emergencies, something that is unforeseen and unexpected. And this is not unforeseen and unexpected. So no, we can't take it from the
Are
slush
you
fund.
telling me that I planned poorly?
No, I'm not telling you that you planned poorly. I'm just saying that the slush fund is not money that we can pull from at this
And
time.
that's what I'm talking about. I think it's a slush fund. I mean, the government does it all the time.
Woo! You are testing me, and I am doing my best to do emotional intelligence. So I would be like, listen here, Lori, the beverage lady. I understand that you feel you're not getting a fair deal here. I control the money. I'm worried about keeping my job. I'm worried about making sure that this project goes off like it should, that this event should go off so that our company continues to be in favor in the community. So I ask that you please respect that and allow us to move forward and use what you have been given to do the food and beverage for the Ferris wheel event that we're having. This is where someone in the room walks out, Lori, the crybaby, the person who has been disruptive. And
I mean, ideally, if the boss is in that if the owner is in that meeting, then the owner says, "I have time. You two are going to make time with me after this meeting, and we're going to get it hashed out." Um,
and I would say if we go back to the example where I was like, how about we, because this is what I recommend a lot when people start to get off topic or people start to argue, like, how about we just meet one on one after the meeting and then we talk about it so that you can help me understand what you need. And then better, let's meet one on one and then let's use the rest of this meeting to plan some other parts so that we don't take up the rest of everybody else's time. And then usually your scenario of what you said with, oh, but I can't because I'm back to back or I'm going on vacation. If that comes up, then people will say, where can we make time? And even if it has to be like a week down the road or something, people usually are open enough to at least give you the few minutes. If they really want to understand why they can't have what they want or whatever. So I always say if it happens in a group setting, that's your best out is to say, I understand your concern or, I hear you. Unfortunately, I'm not flexible or I can't be flexible with what we have. Let's have this discussion on the side and so we can move forward. And then most people will agree, yeah, and okay, let's move forward. But I see it all the time in meetings where someone is difficult, someone doesn't agree, someone doesn't understand, and they just keep disrupting the meeting. And then people don't know how to, what's the word? Trying to think of the word.
diffuse that or
Yes, diffuse. Thank you. people don't know how to diffuse the situation. And a lot of times they think what you just said, the owner or the manager should be the one responsible. Now, if you, and you can do this even if you're not the person directly in the conversation. So let's say you were there as the athletic director because of this event that we're putting off, and you're witnessing this exchange between two people, and someone is having a difficult time with another team member. You can be someone who can help diffuse the situation by doing that same thing. Like, I agree, both your views are important. How about we table this conversation? You guys have a one-on-one. We continue forward with the meeting and then whatever. And then how's that sound? And even though you're asking the question, a lot of times because you're asking the question, most people won't say, oh, let's just dash it out, right? Or hash it out right now. They'll say, okay, that's fair. And they'll put it to the side. And then you can move forward with your meeting.
The other thing there is like as the way I approached it was I want an answer now, right?
Yes.
And my time is too valuable for me to waste after this. I want an answer now. Um, Another way to approach it could be for the accountant to say, um, it seems like this is really important to you. We really should meet one-on-one.
Yeah.
I think we can get to an answer faster, more effectively if we meet one-on-one. I'm willing to meet. I have the time to meet anytime you're available after this meeting. If this is important to you, I imagine you'll figure out how to make the time for it. But this is not like it won't get answered now.
Right. But also in
Is
the
is
scope,
is it important enough to you to make time after the meeting? That's really putting it back on them, right? To
yeah,
say you're the one telling me this is important.
right.
I already have the answer. I think I have the answer. You don't think you have the answer. If it's that important to you and you are under a time crunch, then you'll figure out how to make the time,
And
right?
you're right. And that's a good question. That's a good point because then it could be like, you know what? I don't have time. I don't have to have the time. I'm busy. I've got other things on my schedule. And maybe I just say, I'll make the $400 work. Maybe I just stop the argument because I realize it's not as important as I thought I was. So I like
Mhm.
that. Is it important enough to you to continue?
Or if they say, well, no, I don't have time. I don't have time. Okay, well, the you know how to prioritize things. You know what priority you're putting on things. So if this doesn't meet the priority list, the top of your priority list, then it sounds like you can wait until you get back.
So the reason I asked, like, if we're in a meeting is because this is not something I would recommend as far as an exchange with people in a meeting, because now you've gone too far. You're making it more personal, and all the other people are sitting here wanting to move forward with their pieces of if it's a budget
Mhm.
meeting or whatever it is, right? And so going into that, like the extreme of, and then we can meet and do this, like, I recommend that all of that happens one on one. And you're right, that's where you start to talk through, well, if it's important enough, you're going to make the time. So I've set aside time now. We'll talk through it. But if it's not important enough, then maybe this, is a topic that we can drop. But that conversation where it extends beyond that and how important is it really should happen one on one, because otherwise you're taking up other people's time and starting to move in a different direction in the meeting.
Or you just use the phrase, "What's your problem?" I'm kidding.
What's your problem? Ah, that I would love to say what's your problem. That is what not to do when you have a difficult person. But really, sort of I would say we can end on that because that's more on the, oh, boy, that was just one behavior. That was just
Right.
one behavior of people like
Yeah.
questioning, but
Uh-huh.
can be perceived as difficult or challenging, right? It's
Yeah.
just people questioning your ideas or not, or I guess there's disagreement there. So you
Hmm.
can't have a consensus or a decision to move forward because this person's questioning you. To sort of wrap it up at the end is with our scenario, if there is something that happens like that, that's in a meeting, making the time from my side, or maybe even, well, I guess me, I was the combative one, but you were me. You were pretending to be Lori Food and Beverage, and like somehow we switch bodies, and then I was the accountant. But um both of us could in this situation have a one-on-one and give feedback to each other from our perspective of how that went, where I feel I'm the expert, that I know the most about the budget and how I have the best view of the overall situation. And maybe I can help that person understand the true the true picture, or give them the true picture. Maybe they don't see it. They only see it from their one spot, but they don't really know why we're making some of the changes or why we're doing things the way that we are. And if I can help them understand or feel more comfortable with the decision, then that's probably best had in a one-on-one conversation. Maybe they'll hear me out on that part. But also, from, well, I guess your side, the person who's like, I feel like you're taking this away, or you're not letting me have what I want. You could also still be that person who feels like you're not being heard, potentially. I don't
Mhm.
know. And it could be that's how I feel. Like, I feel like you're just doing that because you don't want me to be successful. I'm the newest person to this team and you don't want me to have a good experience. I don't know, right? But I could come to you and I could say, I feel like you talk, like, can we have a one-on-one conversation? And I feel like you talk down to me, Mr. Floating Head, because I don't have your expertise. And it doesn't make me feel good in the meeting. And that's probably why I go on and tell you, I feel like this, and I'm so persistent that I want like a better answer because I feel like you don't see me or something like that. Right? How do you see it? And then just having a conversation to understand each other's view.
This is why the leadership in practice is so difficult, or can be so difficult, because there's so many moving parts, right? And there's so many, and everything, like in that scenario, everything's happening like this. And it's like, well, how do you remember? How do I remember in the moment to to not use you statements, but use I statements? How do I remember in the moment to say, help me understand? How do I remember in the moment? Right? This is like, all this stuff is very difficult, um, and takes practice.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. It's practice.
Yeah.
The more you do it, the better you get. Just like
Yeah.
sports. If you
Hmm.
haven't picked up a basketball in a long time, surely you can't get upset with yourself if you go out there and you airball because
Right.
you haven't been practicing. It takes a while for you to get the feeling and then it becoming a regular movement and it feels natural. And then suddenly you're the one out there, right? Dropping threes or free throws or whatever, one after the other. But if you're not in practice, I'm
Yeah.
I'm
Which is
sorry,
what,
I'm laughing because your background made you look like you have a cone head.
oh, does it? Oh,
So
what's going on with this?
I know
Oh,
if
yeah, look
someone
at that.
just listens to us, they're gonna have no
Beep, beep, beep,
idea.
beep,
Like,
beep, 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 beep. The old SNL.
yes, yes.
Oh, there we go.
Oh my gosh. But oh, and I got bigger all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I flew. So, oh my gosh. So
Dude,
if
this
people
is
are just listening, they're gonna have no idea like what we're actually seeing on the screen.
this is
But
the special effects version of the Lori Ball
oh my
show.
gosh, this is hilarious. But oh my gosh, I completely lost my train of thought. What was I talking about, Paul?
Practice.
Practice. Yes. So that's what I tell people when they become new leaders, or even if you've been a leader for a while and now you're getting into that space of growth and recognizing that there are things that you can do better or that you want to be better. It's like, don't beat yourself up if you go into that meeting and the first meeting you're in and you react how you would normally react. And then you come out and you're like, dang it, I forgot to say, help me understand, or have the conversation one on one. It takes practice. And for really, it's any tool that, we use to help us remember. It could be sticky notes. It could be putting a reminder on your phone. Remember to use this instead of. But once you have some sort of tool that you can use for certain situations, you're at least better prepared. Like when you recognize the situation, you can think, okay, and then what am I going to take from my toolbox? And you're not really going to say that, right? You're not going through that whole process. Hold on, let me dig into my toolbox and figure out. But you're at least armed with how you could respond and what you could ask. But I think the most important thing is don't beat yourself up. It's practice. It takes practice. The best people practice over and over and over again. That's why they're the best at their sport.
Yeah. And that's why when I set up trainings with companies, I tell them training is not a one-off thing. Like this is something you have to practice. And the more people in your company that understand what you're learning today, the better, because you can all help each other practice.
Yeah, I love that. Practice makes almost perfect.
That's right. Practice makes better.
Yes, I like that even better. Practice makes better. And so we're going to leave you with that. All right, Paul, you're going to sign us off.
All right. So if you liked this episode or any of the other episodes that you have heard or watched, please like, please subscribe. You already know what that does to the algorithm, helps introduce our show to others like you who are interested in this kind of content. So thank you very much and comment below. I want to hear. I'm curious to know that when we presented the scenarios, the role playing, who did you think was the difficult person? I'm so curious to hear about that. And then if you have any suggestions for how you would have responded as either the accountant or the food and beverage person, put that in the comments too.
That's
Thanks for
great.
watching and listening.
All right.
We'll see you next time.
See ya.